All right, so today I want to talk about Perplexity. If you have not used Perplexity already, I can show you it's quickly going to become one of your favorite AI tools. I wouldn't say it has completely replaced my Google searches, but it has replaced a lot of them, right? So I'm doing at least maybe 60% of my searches inside of Perplexity now, as opposed to doing them in Google. And the reason for that is because Perplexity makes it easy so that you don't have to click on a million links in order to get an answer. So let me walk you through two of the same examples. The reason I'm going to do two examples of the same is because I want to show you the difference between their regular search and the search on the pro version as well. So myself, I'm a real estate investor. I own some properties, and so one great tool that I like to use is Perplexity for short-term rentals or Airbnbs, because different cities have different rules and regulations around Airbnbs, and so one thing that is the pain is that when you do the Google route and you go, what are the Airbnb rules for this city? You got to go to the city website, and as you know, every government website is absolutely terrible. It's really difficult to find the answer. If you call someone, they're typically extremely rude. And so now, though, with Perplexity, I'm able to kind of skip all that. So here's just an example of that. So what are the short-term rental rules and regulations in Waco, Texas? And here we go. All right, so it immediately tells me the answer. Short-term rental regulations in Waco, Texas are quite comprehensive. Here's an overview of the key rules. Licensing and permits to operate a short-term rental. You must obtain a license, blah, blah, blah. Location, zoning, occupancy, and residency. So here it gives me all of the rules when it comes to short-term rentals in Waco, Texas. It even gives me a breakdown of taxes and display requirements and inspection process and enforcement and all this kind of stuff. So without having to click on a gazillion links. I can promise you, if I did this on Google, I'd have to click on so many links. So I can click on 0 now, and I actually have my answer. So I don't need to go anywhere else. However, if I want to double check Perplexity's work, right, here are all the links that it's pulling from. And so every single time it says something, if you hover over this, you can click on it, and it's going to take you to the web page where it found that information right there. So again, you can maybe not trust the results, but you can always verify where it's pulling that information from. And then you can easily do some related searches. So for example, how long does it take to get a short-term rental license in Waco? I can just click on that and it's going to automatically do the search for me. And then here we go. Now it's giving me that answer as well. So amazing research tool. It literally takes something that could honestly take hours sometimes to literally just minutes. Now you have everything. Now let's do the same search, but this time let's do the pro version, and you will see some differences there. So I'm going to enable pro right now. If you're on the free version like I am, you get 3 pro searches per day. If you want more than that, you do have to upgrade. But for me, actually, the 3 pro searches per day is enough. I haven't really felt a need to upgrade. So now let's do that again. So what are the short-term rental? Oops, cannot spell right now. Rules and regulations for Waco, Texas. All right, so one thing to note is that Pro Search, it does take a little bit longer, not astronomically longer, but a little bit longer nonetheless. So here, the answer is pretty much the same here. However, if we click on this, research the short-term rental rules and regulations in Texas, here you can kind of see the way it's broken down the searches. So when I came back over here, I don't see what's going on in the back end of how Perplexity is thinking about this, right, so to speak. But here, it does give me that breakdown right here. So it's, Waco, Texas short-term rental rules and regulations, Waco, Texas Airbnb regulations, Waco, Texas vacation rental policies. So now I can see the interworkings of Perplexity and how it's finding this information. Now let's click on one of the related search terms right here. I still have pro enabled. So let's do a different one right now. So how long does it take? No, there specific areas in go. Yeah, here we go. This is perfect right here. Are there any areas where it is prohibited? So once again, we can kind of see the inner workings of the searches that it's doing in the background, and then here it's giving me the answer. One thing that's not happening right now, which often does happen with the pro search, but obviously I'm choosing searches that apparently is it's just not finding anything for this, but it will give you some oftentimes videos automatically for this, right? So here I clicked on videos and it's just giving me kind of like a random one. So not the best one, but oftentimes if it does find a video in the pro search, it'll automatically display the video over there on the right hand side, which is really nice and convenient. So it's not only searching text, it's also searching video content as well. So it is a little bit more comprehensive. Like I said, I'm not doing tons and tons of pro searches per day. For me, the limit of 3 per day is perfectly fine, and so I've been happy with that. So the main reason, though, I wanted to do this video on Perplexity, not only do I love this tool, and I hope that you start using it and benefiting from it too, is that they, earlier this week, just announced something really huge. So they are going to start experimenting with advertising. So whenever you hear that, most people are like, boo, I don't want advertising. But, at the end of the day, right, these businesses, they do need to generate revenue. And oftentimes, right, there's only two ways to generate revenue typically, right? Either you pay for them monthly, like you can for ChatGPT, but there's also a free version of ChatGPT, or there's advertising. With Perplexity, it's both. You can pay for the pro version, or you can use the free version, like I am. And then in that case, right, they're sponsored ads. They do have to generate revenue in some way, shape, or form. But this is really fascinating simply because now they are competing with Google in two different ways. But at first, they were just taking searches away from Google. They weren't competing on an ad standpoint. Now they're also competing on an ad standpoint with Google. Google is such a juggernaut. So for me, it's honestly fascinating to see someone coming into the space and potentially really giving them a run for their money. Will that happen? I don't know. But again, it'll be very fascinating to watch. So here we can see, before getting into details, we want to highlight our guiding principle. The content of the answers you receive on Perplexity will not be influenced by advertisers. So that's a very important thing to see. So everything else that you see is going to be regular Perplexity results. No changes right there, so that's a good thing. But in addition to the regular Perplexity results, you will also see a sponsored ad, and it's going to specifically say sponsored, as you can see right here. So it's not like you're going to be bait and switched into an ad that you didn't realize. And obviously the ad, it will be related to your search anyway. So you can see here, we can't see this person's original search, but it clearly has something to do with job searches and job applications. And so now the sponsored ad is, how can I use Indeed to enhance my job search? So it certainly is something that is related to the search that this person initially put in. For right now, this is only going to be in the US. So if you're outside the US, you are not going to be seeing this. But like I said earlier, you're always going to see that sponsored note next to it. So it's going to be very clear when it is that you're seeing an ad and clicking on an ad. Here they get into details as to why they're doing this. And I think a lot of this insight is very fascinating. So here, let's start at the top. So while brands are keen on understanding how their companies appear in AI answer engines like ours, we will avoid duplicating the SEO industry where people are implementing arbitrary tactics to improve the rankings at the expense of user utility. So again, super fascinating there. Obviously, the SEO space is huge when it comes to Google. People are always doing all these things on their websites and pages in order to increase their rankings. And they are saying, we don't care about SEO. So anything you try to do on the SEO end, it's going to have zero impact on whether or not you appear on Perplexity's results. Perplexity, right, it says here, rather than manipulate the answers, they want to encourage users to express their curiosity about a brand. So they're focused on the end user experience, which is really great, right? So they're putting the user first in mind. And so, you've probably experienced this with a Google search before, where you do a search and like a lot of the links that you're clicking on, they're not answering your question or it's not what you're looking for, but they're pushed to the top because they're meeting all of Google's SEO rules, and that's not going to happen when you're on Perplexity. And then they get into a little bit more detail here. I'm not going to read it word for word, but they do talk about diversifying the revenue streams, right? They're investing in the future, which again, makes sense. I know people don't get super excited about ads, but at the end of the day, they do need to keep their lights on. And that is very difficult to do just with one revenue model. So now here they're expanding their revenue model. So huge, huge news in the advertising space. This is something that I'll be keeping a close eye on. Not only am I deeply involved in AI, I'm actually also deeply involved in the advertising space. That's actually my main bread and butter. So this is something, like I said, that I will be watching. But if you have any questions about anything that I covered today, let me know in the comments below. If you want to learn ways of getting AI implemented in your business, I also have a link so that you can start booking a discovery call and we can see where we can make some improvements in your business ASAP. That's all I got for you today. See you next time.